Hello and welcome to the January Fire Chief's video message for January 2019. As the winter weather forecast starts to say that we may have some accumulating snow this weekend, the time of year is upon us for the winter weather. And one of the things I wanted to do today with Pete was to do a summary of 2018 and talk about some of the upcoming activities in 2019. So welcome, Pete.
Hey, Chief. Thanks for having me.
No worries. So naturally we've had a very wet summer. I would hate to say the word summer, but it was all year, 65, almost 70 inches of rain. There's no doubt that the moisture and the rain we got played a difference from domestically, yards, housing, wet basements, water problems, through swift water rescues, and all of the different causes that amount of water created for us. Hopefully that's different in 2019.
You know, you speak of some of the historical events that we had some water rescues, but they weren't on the Potomac River. The most notable was the one in response to assist Howard County in Ellicott City in May, or March or May, something like that. But
second time though.
Yeah, wettest year ever. So yeah, it did have an impact on our responses.
So one of the things that is unique about incidents is what we've been seeing over the years were a 2 to 3% rise total call volume. In calendar 17, it was pretty stable compared to calendar 16. Now for calendar 18, which we've just wrapped up, we've seen about a 3,000 call increase. So our base number is about 123,000 calls all told for fire rescue. About 96,400 of those are EMS, and about 18,600 for fire. So we saw about a 2,000 call uptick on the fire side, and a little over a 500 or so call uptick on the EMS side. So we're starting to see a trend back to having a continual rise of total volume.
And as you know, as the demographics change, as the population grows, typically the trend is that when the greater the population, your calls go up proportionally. So I think you mentioned, or we had about a 2.5% increase, about 123, almost 124,000 calls. And I think, have you had a chance to look at the station, the run totals in the station?
Haven't seen the station run totals. We're going to have the chief officers meeting next week, and the line officers the week after. We will have all of that ready, unit by unit totals as well as the station totals. We're going to have that ready for those meetings. I'm sure that the 8 and 25 are going to be 10,000 or right at about that mark, and the other numeric that we are watching, and we have seen an uptick in this in a quarterly level, is the number of EMS transports. So we were right about 71,000 EMS transports for 2 years now. I suspect that's going to be an uptick as well over calendar 17 to calendar 18. But our ALS1 and ALS2 numbers actually went up by a very small percentage, and it was a little bit of a decrease on the BLS call volume. So it's a little bit of a take up and down in these fine categories. So
that's pretty impressive if you think about it. I mean, the guys and gals are out there just running the calls, and they probably don't notice it, but I think it's still probably 75–80% of our call volume is EMS related. And when you say about 100,000 EMS calls and about 70,000 transports, that's pretty impressive. That's a very high percentage of people that were taken to the hospital. So it sounds like people are making the right call, calling 911 when they need to, and we end up transporting. So
and with
pretty impressive number. And
with the alternative destination pilot as well as mobile integrated health, those activities, those programs are intended to and targeting to adjust or to divert those transport needs by providing other care, other resources to those in need, or taking them to an additional medical facility and not specifically the full ER.
And I know that I believe it's still true that we enhanced the mobile health care program a little bit, and it's probably be a couple of years before we see the trends. You probably are a little bit more familiar with it, but I think that's going to make a big difference. That's probably the wave of the future for community health.
And we've been talking about telemedicine. We've also been talking about nurse or a advanced practitioner at ECC that can do that additional scripting. So that's definitely different points there. With our activity in 2018, we started the year off with a bang. That day back in January was quite crazy.
Yeah.
11 or 12 full assignments, 7 or so, working house fires where it was nonstop, and our total number of fire full assignments went up by about 100 to about 770. And we had a few significance, and tragically we had the one of the just before Thanksgiving on Western Avenue.
Yeah. So that was one. Certainly, we typically in Montgomery County will have the lowest per capita fire death rate in the state. So again, around Thanksgiving we had that fire, and it's kind of typical when you have a fire fatality. I mean, none of them are typical, but here you had a home, older home. People that had lived there for a long time, but unfortunately they did have smoke alarms. Well, that's not unfortunate, but they had smoke alarms, but unfortunately none of them worked. And the investigators found some sitting on some still in a box sitting on a shelf.
Right.
So.
I mean, as this picture shows, the 2-pack of smoke alarms was sitting in a box on a ledge, window ledge near a radiator, as an example. Still unopened. When we opened it, it had the date of manufacture of 2013 on the alarms themselves. There was one in the basement that was operable, but it was in the basement. And then there was another one in the structure found in the debris that had a wall anchor on it, giving you an indication that it had been, hung or had been up in place. But the battery in it was 2010. So several different indications of alarms that were present, maybe not installed. Also alarms that were present that had, seen their batteries usable life pass. Those 2 folks were tragically fire fatalities and fire circumstances where their cause of death. One of them was a longtime WSSC employee. And the capabilities of that early warning, early notification, early opportunity to get out is critical. And the paramount, because we had just, only a few weeks prior to that, recognized the 40-year anniversary of the smoke alarm law in Montgomery County. It was 1978. When that law was passed mandating smoke alarms. And
one of the first in the nation. So we've been at it for a long time, and I think you mentioned the dates, manufacturer dates. So that's something relatively new last couple of years where we've been pushing where the smoke alarms, obviously it's a law now where you have to have the sealed smoke alarm. So in this particular fire on Western Avenue, though, also the fire investigators believe that they occupants may have been trying to fight the fire. There's evidence that may have occurred. The victims were found in different locations, so they looked like, the son tried to help the mother escape, but unfortunately they were not able to get out. And it's key to have that early warning to get out and stay out. But again, we had a pretty significant effort. We joined with our partners from DC.
District of Columbia, yep.
Of course, this fire was Western Avenue, right on the District Montgomery County border. So the next day, a pretty significant effort by the 2nd Battalion crews. They were out there for a number of hours, 4 or 5 hours. Again, joined by DC. When I was out there with the crews, a young lady, a resident of DC, came up to me and kind of asked what was going on, and she made reference to the fact that she had a smoke alarm that alerted her to fire and had saved her life. So we know that, but certainly. That's how important those little devices are.
Right, no doubt. And as we continue with outreach activities, the county's carbon monoxide legislation is going to be coming around the corner here, upcoming middle of this year. How that's going to be required in any structure with fossil fuel or enclosed garages. So that's something that will be in the summertime impacting us as well as all the residents in the county, because that's a great change, another step to enhance and provide safety at home.
You know, we had a CO incident the other day in Bethesda on Rockledge Drive, where a neighbor had called, heard something and called the fire department. Fire rescue arrives, and they're checking the home. They were there for a while, checking everything, and then they determined that the alarm was actually coming from a neighbor's house. They tried to gain entry, and they forced entry, got in, and they discovered that there was 700 parts per million carbon monoxide. As they did their primary search, they found a college student sleeping upstairs with the door closed. That door being closed probably saved his life in that case. But as it turns out, he's fine. He did not have carbon monoxide poisoning, fortunately, probably because of that closed door. But as it turns out, it was a car that was running in the garage that, in fact, had been running so long it ran out of gas that caused that. So an alert neighbor heard the alarm. The fact that there was a carbon monoxide alarm in that home made a big difference. In this case, probably saved a life.
Indeed, indeed. So as 2018 passes, we had the start of Recruit Class 44, and in January 21st, just over a week from now, we're going to have the start of Recruit Class 45. So, and we just on the end of December closed the application period for the next entrance exam processing. So when was your last time you were up at the academy?
Probably about a week or so ago.
Okay. And I mean, so RC 44 is running about 25 folks right now. RC 45 again starts on the 21st. They're carrying, I'm looking to see about 54 folks, maybe right around that number, coming in with RC 45, and they will then start their process and graduate in the July timeframe. So
I think what you're trying to say is going to be busy at the training academy because
it's
there's going
always
to be some overlap
busy at the academy, and no doubt with the current folks, RC 44 getting ready to. They're doing their EMS, EMT internships right now, so they're running through that, and that'll be transition after EMS through their 5-week cycles of EVOC and the additional courses. So, bunch on the horizon at the academy, and looking for an RC 46 sometime in the next physical year. So, bunch on the move there.
And I don't have any specific numbers, but you mentioned the open application period at the end of the year in 2018. I heard it was pretty good, pretty robust. So, looking forward to getting some of those people on board. So, looking forward to it.
The safety campaigns and the activities that are ongoing, what's the next component that we have for outreach and education?
We know, I think it was a heck of a year in 2018 watching the community engagement on a couple of levels. Our EEO folks were out very engaged in the faith-based groups and school groups and so forth. They're mentoring, so a lot of good outreach going on there. But our public education community outreach, car safety seats, of course, having another stellar year. But been very robust were the home safety visits, our senior outreach. Chief Resnick continues to do a great job, and Oscar Mendez and Beth Ann, of course, in the community outreach section. So again, they are really pushing the home safety visits. Call 311, schedule that. Of course, our ops people are very busy assisting with that effort, particularly on Saturdays as part of the Safety in the Neighborhood initiative. So a lot of good activity going on there.
Yep. So, as we prepare for 2019, and we look at some of the different training and safety training initiatives, we have completed some new training on the new engine 712. Probably in about a week is what we're forecasting. That'll be ready to go in service. It's back from the upfitter. Doug Inslee and his shop down in Southern Maryland, they did the mounting of the equipment. As the pictures here show, the equipment is nicely mounted, things are ready to go, brackets put in place, and so it's back to AES. It'll be back at our place here very shortly, and we'll be heading down to Company 12 to go in service.
Of course, you're talking about the new engine, and I know that we have more of those ordered. I don't know the exact number, I'm sure you do, but so we're looking forward to those coming on board.
23 of those with May, June, July delivery dates as the sequence. Those inspection trips have already been penciled in and scheduled. And then the 4 brush engines are nearby. As the pictures show here, they are quite nice looking rigs, something that will be able to transition and replace the international all-wheel drive brush engines that we have and add one at station 22. That's where the 4th one is going. So a bunch of EMS units, the chassis have been ordered, as well as we reported before, the 3 rescue squads. And we had a demo a little bit ago about the midship towers and different truck opportunities. So got to make a decision here soon on trucks. Purchasing 2 new trucks and how that's gonna which way we're gonna go with that. So a lot of good stuff on the apparatus front.
I mean, I have a pretty good vehicle, but is there plans for a new PIO vehicle in there?
Ladder truck, you mean, for the PIO?
Hey, whatever it takes. You know,
I think
if you give me a driver and a crew,
I think there's a Purse with open cab.
Oh, I can do that. I can work with that.
Probably had a College Park on it.
Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah. So that's a bunch of stuff, and all of that is continuing to transition and provide capability. So I wanted to say thanks to everybody for all the hard work in 2018 and continued diligence for preparedness and readiness, making sure that everybody's respectful while being ready and responsible. Again, we have the thought that they're calling it accumulable and shovelable snow here this weekend. As we know, our priority and responsibility is to get to that call, so we got to take the safety focus to get there and ensure that we get to Mrs. Smith or Mr. Doe's problem and situation. So until next month, take care, be safe.